Hey guys, thought I'd do a couple of videos on a couple of tokens that I'm looking to buy a bit more of at the moment. Internet Computer and Audius. So both have been sort of knocked down a fair bit. But yeah, Internet Computer first. So I've sort of mentioned before, this one sort of seemed to be sort of seen as a bit of a scam, because of the early price action mainly. It sort of had a big spike up as soon as it launched. Some exchanges sort of have this at $2,000 odd when it first launched, but yeah, sort of $400, $500, $600 as sort of traded volume. I think this was one that the venture capital firms sort of got their hands on very early when the project was sort of getting going, and so they were sort of buying it for pennies, and yeah, when it launches, sort of the people willing to pay sort of $400, $500 for it, then you can understand the institutions are sort of sitting on 1,000x gain, and they're going to sell. So then I think there were some issues with retail sort of trading, so they kind of got dumped on the first sort of couple of weeks. Also doesn't help that the project sort of launched pretty much at the May sort of peak of Bitcoin's run. So yeah, both of those coupled together sort of just saw it rocket downwards, and yeah, you're looking at sort of 90% drop within a month from the sort of launch $400-$500 range. So naturally, people sort of score it as a bit of a scam. Did seem a little bit odd that it sort of came out of nowhere and was sort of up at a $50 billion market cap, I think it was, when it launched. Yeah, normally you would sort of expect smaller coins to sort of start in the few $1 million range and then rise up as they get more investment, but this one sort of had a fair amount of pre-investment, if you like, so it can launch with a high market cap, but yeah, 50 billion sort of seemed a hell of a lot. But yeah, if you sort of exclude that initial sort of crazy run, then yeah, it's been up and down, and sort of in the last few months or so, it's it's dropped down with the sort of December lull in crypto, hoping for a reasonable first quarter next year, and it's dropped down to what I think is a reasonable price. So just sort of having a look at what they're sort of hoping to achieve. I've sort of mentioned before it's a very ambitious project. They're sort of almost wanting to replace the backbone of the internet essentially, and have sort of applications built on here that sort of aren't using the cloud systems, sort of Amazon Web Services and Google Cloud and that sort of thing. They want this to be a sort of a decentralized blockchain, but not using these sort of centralized cloud services. I think at the moment it is still sort of fairly centralized the way it's run. But yeah, so they give you sort of some stats here. They're sort of smart contract applications they call canisters. So they're up to 15,900. I do sort of wonder if this is a YouTuber subscribers type number. So sort of if you see a YouTuber with sort of 1 million subscribers, say, probably the first 100 or 200,000 that subscribed to them probably sort of stopped watching the videos and forgot about them, but just not subscribed. So yeah, I've wondered whether all of these are sort of getting used. Would prefer if they sort of gave maybe monthly active applications or smart contracts being used. That might give a sort of more accurate sort of view on how well it's doing. But yeah, cumulative sort of canisters that have been created fair enough, it sounds better for them. So yeah, that's not too bad. But they sort of give you a bit of flashy stuff on the website. They want to be so Bitcoin was digital gold, Ethereum is DeFi, and Internet Computer is reimagining how you build everything. So yeah, very, very ambitious. I wouldn't be surprised if this is one that doesn't really achieve its goals this cycle and sort of goes into the bear market, and could be one that you either want to sort of sell out of if it goes up a little bit during the sort of bull market next year, and then maybe buy up during the sort of bear market late 2022 or 23, sort of ready for the next cycle. But yeah, they've sort of been criticised for a fair bit for sort of poaching talent from all over the place. So they've sort of had people previously working at Amazon and Google, the sort of big tech companies, and sort of big banks and that sort of thing. So got a fairly large team. I think they're looking at sort of 200 plus developers. A lot of them sort of top level PhD cryptographers and that sort of thing. So would expect something must come out of it. I think a lot of the sort of smaller caps. So it's rank 40, rank 39. So a lot of projects at that sort of level wouldn't have 200 sort of top level developers. So would expect something decent to come out of it. They've had a lot of sort of investment. I think these are probably some of the venture capital firms that were able to sort of get their tokens cheap, but that's sort of where part of the money's come from. And sort of they've got a lot of data centers around the world. Again, I think people sort of see this as not really enough. It's not sort of hosted by the people, so it's not really decentralized enough. But I think that's something that they want to do sort of going forward to spread it out a little bit more. I'm not really surprised that it has to sort of stay centralized early on. But yeah, so they're sort of looking to have a platform where people can sort of build all sorts of different types of apps. So a quick look at some of the apps that they're looking at. So they've got sort of a web hosting site. They're saying they've got 1,000 websites hosted on it at the moment. They've got District, which is sort of a LinkedIn competitor from the looks of it. 19,000 users. Again, I'd sort of take some of these numbers with a pinch of salt, to be honest, but we'll see. Got sort of an NFT platform with Origin. Sort of decentralized Reddit, decentralized WhatsApp, sort of a identity verification website. So lots of different avenues that they're looking to go down. I think this maybe sort of comes from them having so many developers, to be honest. So I think they were looking at sort of potentially being a scaling sort of second layer solution to Ethereum. They're also looking to potentially bring smart contracts to Bitcoin. That sort of all seems very, very ambitious, to be honest. But if they can do it, then all the better. And yes, they're getting into sort of gaming and the NFT space as well. So people sort of building poker games and sort of NFT-based multiplayer games. Some of these look quite simplistic, but they have sort of released a video last month of people that are building sort of fairly decent-looking games on top of their platform. So I'll just show a small amount of this video. I don't think this will get banned. But, so they've got sort of an F-Zero, yeah, sort of read out futuristic racing game on there. Yeah, so sort of a shoot 'em up type game, not a sort of third person, yeah, actiony type multiplayer shooter. A few sort of different racing games and sort of top down RPG type quest games, platformers, and this one looked very I'm not sure what sort of stage of development this is at, but a sort of real-time strategy game, which yeah, looks like it could be fairly promising. They only show a couple of seconds of it, so yeah, not really sure how much to make of this, but yeah, look fairly sort of powerful games, to be honest. So yeah, that's a look at Internet Computer. I do hold sort of some, well, reasonable amount of tokens, if you've sort of seen my portfolio videos, but yeah, I think with this sort of dip, probably be looking to top up. It's below what I initially paid for all of my my tokens. I think I was at sort of, well, I'll do it in pounds, I was at about £21, so it'd be 30, maybe sort of $28 to $30, and then I bought sort of in the $40 range, I think. So yeah, buying here sort of seems a reasonable buy for me. Not financial advice, of course, but if you want to take a bit of a gamble, then yeah, give it a look. So that's part one. See you in a sec for part two if you want.